Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, and welcome to this Christmas holiday horror movie review video as part of my current series for December 2023 here. So today we're going to go old school. We're going to go all the way back to 1972 and take a look at a Christmas mystery slash slasher kind of horror film, and that is Silent Night, Bloody Night. Sorry about my lighting there. Yeah, Silent Night, Bloody Night, which I got on DVD, digitally remastered. Boy, I would have hated to have seen what it looked like before it was digitally remastered. Um, but yeah, this is a movie I think I have on like five of my horror movie packs. It's a movie that gets passed around a lot as far as being on a lot of different horror movie packs. You can pretty much watch it anywhere, YouTube, stream it anywhere. I even went to the Wikipedia page for information on it, and they even have a like a YouTube video right on there to watch it. So, needless to say, this movie's been passed around a lot, and it's not exactly a specific a specific boutique label kind of release or anything like that. But that being said, I did want to check it out from 1972. Sorry, I got an itch on my arm here. So I did get it on DVD here for relatively cheap, which is another way to let me know that um, there's a lot of it out there. But I wanted to add it to my physical media collection. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get into Silent Night, Bloody Night. Not to be confused, of course, with Silent Night, Deadly Night, which would come out about a dozen years later in the 80s. So Silent Night, Bloody Night's a 1972 American slasher film directed by Theodore Gershoni and co-produced by Lloyd Kaufman. The film stars Patrick O'Neill and cult actress Mary Woronov in leading roles and John Carradine in a supporting performance. The plot follows a series of murders that occur in a small New England town on Christmas Eve after a man inherits a family estate which was once an insane asylum. So that sounds pretty interesting for a premise. So basically, it opens on Christmas Eve, 1950. Wilfred Butler dies in a burning accident outside his mansion in East Willard, Massachusetts. The residence is bequeathed to his grandson, Jeffrey. 20 years later, in 1970, lawyer John Carter arrives in East Willard on Christmas Eve with his assistant and mistress, Ingrid. Having been charged by Jeffrey to sell the house, Carter meets with the town's leading citizens, Mayor Adams, Sheriff Bill Mason, and mute Charlie Tauman, who owns the local newspaper, and Tess Howard, who operates the town's telephone switchboard. They all agree to buy the Butler mansion on behalf of the town for the bargain price of $50,000, which Jeffrey requires to be paid in cash the next day. Carter and Ingrid spend the night at the Butler mansion, but are brutally murdered in bed with an axe by an unseen assailant. After the murders, the killer places a crucifix in Ingrid's hands and proceeds to phone the sheriff, introducing himself as the house's owner and asking him to investigate Carter's disappearance. While talking with Tass, who forwards his call, the killer calls himself Mary Ann. And thus our mystery murder begins. Um, as far as the cast goes, we have Patrick O'Neill as John Carter, James Patterson as Jeffrey Butler, Mary Woronov as Diane Adams, Astrid Heron as Ingrid, and John Carradine as Charlie Tolman. So yeah, that's to set up the premise and the cast for 1972 Silent Night, Bloody Night. Um, yeah, so my thoughts on this movie, it's kind of a mixed bag for me. There's a lot of technical aspects I don't really like about the movie, but at the same time, there's some so bad it's good aspects to the movie that I actually enjoy and could see watching again. But let's just go ahead and get into it, starting with the things that I liked about the movie, the pros. I really like the slasher giallo vibes going on in this movie. You got everything from people wearing black gloves to POV shots, etc. It really did feel like a giallo kind of movie as well as a slasher. I really thought that made for an engaging watch, kind of fun to watch as well. So that was the first thing I noticed that I liked. I thought the story overall was relatively interesting, especially for the time. How it had connecting tissue to just about all the main characters in the movie that we're introduced to. I thought that was really clever, and I liked that. I liked that aspect. There are actually some pretty moody and creepy moments throughout the movie. especially towards the end when we get the reveal. There's a scene where asylum patients, which this house is turned into an asylum for a time. But asylum patients are released to wreak havoc. Basically, I thought that was kind of creepy, just the way they looked, the way they moved, and everything. I actually thought that was one of the creepier parts in the movie. And then also, I thought the score, well, nothing groundbreaking or different. I thought it was pretty effective. It was a pretty good score that was used throughout the movie to add to some of the more suspenseful moments in the movie. Um, I like the look and the setting of this house or mansion and slash asylum. I thought it worked really well for this type of slasher movie. Um, and then finally, I thought the twist at the end, the reveal, which is kind of given through flashbacks and narration. But I thought it was a pretty effective and interesting twist at the end of the movie. Well, definitely being far fetched, and you have to suspend your disbelief. I like the fact that it was different, especially for this time in 1972. It wasn't a standard. Somebody was bullied years ago, and now they're out for revenge. I mean, somebody is out for revenge, but it kind of has more of a twisted story involved in it, and having to do with family members and things like that, and as well as some of the townspeople. I thought that was really, as I mentioned earlier, that connective tissue with all the characters in this movie. I thought that was really interesting and effective. So yeah, those are my pros for Silent Night, Bloody Night here from 1972. As far as my cons go, I really didn't care for the ending of this movie. It's really anticlimactic. Once the reveal of the killer's given and sort of the reveal of the story, it pretty much just ends without any sort of an exciting confrontation or conclusion. Some gunshots happen, and the movie just basically ends with, again, more narration, just as the movie began. The movie's hard to watch from a cinematography and lighting standpoint. The fact that this is on DVD and it actually says digitally remastered, I mean, I could expect it to look like this watching it on like YouTube or watching it on one of the other streaming services or wherever else, the 100 other places you can watch it. Even a horror movie pack that's got 4 or 5 other movies. But you would think on an individual release like this, especially when it's digitally remastered, it still doesn't look great. I mean, the cinematography's not great, the editing's not great, the lighting's not great. There's nighttime outdoor scenes where you literally can't see what's going on. It's so dark. It's just hard to watch, and so that was something that really took away from me. You really can't see a damn thing in some certain scenes. Now the whole movie's not like that, but I don't know. It's just a really bad transfer. And again, I'm sure the fact that this movie's basically been passed around and it's like public domain as they call it. I'm sure the prints have just been worn the hell out. There's even a couple scenes where I could see like the line that you could see like through older movies, like that green line that's through the film, basically. Not for long periods of time, but it's just kind of part of the whole technical aspects of the movie, which doesn't really hold up. I don't know if they could do a Blu-ray release of this. I don't think there is one. It's probably not popular enough to have one. But I don't even know how much that would clean it up. It would probably make it look a little bit better, I'd imagine, but that might just be what the movie is. But yeah, from a technical standpoint, the cinematography and the lighting is really lacking here. Most of the acting I also felt was kind of wooden in this movie, even by some good actors like, well, John Carradine doesn't say anything in the movie, so that was a missed opportunity. He's probably the best actor. And then Mary Warnov, she's in a lot of other horror movies, but I didn't think she was great in this movie. The acting, like I said, overall is just kind of wooden and subpar performances overall. I also don't think the directing's that good in this movie either, in terms of the delivery of the story, the execution of the content, or the overall narrative. I just felt that it was really lacking from a structural standpoint. I will say the movie's only 82 minutes long, so I mean it's definitely doesn't overstay its welcome or anything like that. It's a very efficient little wrapped up package kind of movie, so that definitely helps it from a structure standpoint. But I still felt like the movie could have been delivered a bit better than it actually was. I mentioned this before, but I really didn't care for all the narration throughout the movie. It opens with narration, it has it throughout the movie, and then it ends with narration. Again, that works for some movies. I just wasn't a fan of it with this movie. I'm sure there was other reasons why it didn't work for this movie as well. And then also the exposition that's basically given by the narration as well as through flashbacks and the characters just telling us this and that. I just think there's more effective ways to do it. Yeah, I don't know. That just didn't work for me. Maybe I'm nitpicking a little bit. And then my final con, this being a Christmas holiday horror movie review, there's really not a lot of Christmas atmosphere or tone in this movie. It really lacks Christmas atmosphere and especially decor. You have a couple people that are either singing or listening to Christmas songs or music on the radio, and then we know that the movie is set in and around Christmas Eve or Christmas and different time periods, the different years that this movie spans. But other than that, it really doesn't have any Christmas horror movie vibes or decor in it. So that was definitely a downgrade. This is probably a movie you could watch in January or really any time of the year. It doesn't have enough Christmas vibes where you feel like you should be watching it in December specifically. So that's pretty much it for Silent Night, Bloody Night. I will say it does say a groundbreaking horror film, which endures to this day. Um, it probably is groundbreaking to a certain extent. In 1972, this is even before Black Christmas, which was a couple years later. So you really didn't have any slasher movies, unless you want to consider the original Psycho as a slasher movie. I guess you could make that argument, but I mean, for being really the first slasher movie, I guess it's groundbreaking in that way. I don't know how well it endures to this day. Maybe it does for some people, but I guess I enjoyed it enough where I could see watching it every other year, every other December, or maybe just every other year, any time of the year. Um, but the technical aspects really hold it back, as well as the ending and the delivery of the movie through directing and performances. So I'm going to give this movie a 6.5 out of 10 for Silent Night, Bloody Night from 1972. I could see watching it again. I'll keep it in my collection. Like I said, even though I'm sure if I look at all my horror movie packs, I probably have like three other. I'm sure there's movies on at least three of those too. So it's kind of everywhere. But 6.5 out of 10 for Silent Night, Bloody Night. Go ahead and comment down below if you guys have seen this movie, what you think of it. Do you like it? Not? Why not? Please like this video, hit the little notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my reviews for this series. We're only halfway through. I've got 5 more new holiday Christmas movies that I'm going to review yet before the end of the month. Please subscribe to my channel as well so you don't miss any of my great horror content. Not only the rest of this series, but also what I have coming up, like the first half of 2024, which I will have a video at the very end of the year to talk about that a little bit. But with that being said, I hope you guys are enjoying this review series, that you enjoyed this specific review. Hope everybody's doing well with their holiday season here. And of course, stay scared. Bye.